Welcome back. This is Tango Traffic, keeping you moving 24/7. I'm Jason Lee, joined by our buddy from Pt1.mov, Gene Blaum. Gene, first of all, good to see you.
Jason, thanks for having me in.
Appreciate you coming in here into the studio. Now, a big week coming up for you guys at Pt1.mov later on this month. So talk about why you're here and why I'm wearing a yellow vest.
Yeah, why we're here is the week of April 23rd is National Work Zone Awareness Week. And it's to bring safety into the work zone for not only the Pt1.mov workers and our private contractors who are out on the roadways trying to make them safe for all motorists, but for drivers themselves.
Okay.
So that when you're driving through the work zone, you're safe, you're traveling at a very slow speed, and you make it through safely, because a number of incidents do happen in work zones.
Absolutely, and we'll get to some tips in just a second. I have a question, though. Where is your vest? I have a vest. Kristen has a vest.
We have our vests to wear, but we're honoring you today by allowing and thanking Tango Traffic for wearing the vest to bring greater awareness to it.
Oh, we appreciate that. Let's talk about these tips that we have, because a lot about tips for Work Zone Awareness Week. Let's go through some of these, Gene.
Okay. Well, certainly what you have to do is drive at the posted speed limit.
Right.
The speed limit in the work zone is much slower than it is when you're driving on the highway. So you want to slow down, whether it's 20 miles an hour or 25 miles per hour. Mm-hmm. You want to have your headlights on. Bring greater awareness to yourselves.
Okay.
And you want to leave a lot of extra room, much extra room between yourself and the vehicle in front of you. Because what we notice is that when people drive through work zones, they're distracted. They're looking at the work. They're watching the concrete truck pouring. They're watching the excavator. And all it takes is you to take your eyes off the road for a second. The traffic in front of you stops. And when you turn around, you're right on top of the vehicle.
And that's dangerous, especially here on the Platte Bridge with the concrete barriers. If you veer off to the side, even just slightly, you're causing an accident.
You are. And we've had several incidents on the Platte Bridge since we put the single-lane pattern in mid-February. It's one lane in each direction. We've lowered the speed limit on the Platte Bridge, but it's mostly rear-end crashes.
Right.
Driver inattentiveness.
Absolutely. So let's go through more of these tips. Well, you mentioned about leaving your headlights on, but one thing I've noticed, okay, we'll go back to the tips and we'll get to the headlights in just a second, but of course no tailgating, flashes when slow, buckling up, of course, but the last one is probably the most important. Of course, we have it in all caps as well.
Be patient.
Yep.
Take your time. I mean, everyone's in a rush today.
Absolutely.
Everyone needs to get to where they have to get to 5 minutes ago. So when they come upon a work zone, what's your automatic thought? Oh my goodness, I'm going to be late for my appointment. I'm going to be late for the party.
You get a little panicky.
You panic, and then you look at the work as being the cause of your disruption.
Right.
And it isn't. It isn't that as I said, the men and women working out there are working to make that road safer and stronger.
Absolutely.
And look at those men and women working. They're moms and dads. They want to get home to their families. They're little league coaches.
No doubt.
They're community leaders. And they're just out there making the road better for you. Absolutely.
And you mentioned, of course, keeping the speeds down, of course, leaving the headlights on. But I've noticed this a lot as well, the speed monitoring devices. I go through past the zone on 202 every single morning where the speed limit's 45. And if you're going, I think, above 50, it starts flashing at you.
And I'm sure you see it flashing quite a bit.
Not at me, personally.
No, but
I see it flash at other cars.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You see it flashing because people are not obeying the speed limit.
Right.
And sometimes there's a sense of, oh, I'm in the barriers. The workers aren't right next to me, therefore I don't have to travel that speed limit.
Exactly, exactly.
And the penalties are quite stiff. If you do get stopped in a work zone and you're traveling 11 miles over the posted speed limit in that work zone, you will lose your license for 15 days.
I can imagine that, and it should be a stiff penalty, that's for sure. I don't want to tattle, but I've seen it flash at Kristen Sellens. Gene, we're going to ask you to stand by for just a couple minutes. We'll talk to you again.